You have been listening to VCR, creative content by Richard Christopher
And Vara.
Vara and
And I'm
Roxy
Roxy.
Perez.
And you're
I'm
listening
about to
to
strangle you.
Logo by
VCR.
Richard Christopher
Do
Vara
that
with
again.
assistance
And you're
from
listening to
Annie
VCR.
Ramirez.
So
If you have any
violent today.
questions, comments, or concerns, you
Hey,
can
Roxy, how
reach
you
us
doing?
at
I'm
The
the
doing
VCR
okay.
Show
the
at
holiday shopping
gmail.com
finally getting to
or
you.
our social
Oh
media
gosh.
at
Let me
Hmm.
tell you,
Instagram
it's
and
wild out
Twitter
there.
at
It
the
is. Oh my God.
VCR
Wild.
Show.
I went to a store to go
And
pick up
you
some
can
gift cards, and
also check
that
out our
line was so
content
long. I was
at the
like, nope, I just
VCRshow.com.
left. I was like, I'll try like
The
later, like at
show's
10 at
song
night when no
is
one's
Addict
here.
by Nefex,
Because it's just
instrumental,
ridiculous how
and you
long those
can
lines are.
find them
Uh,
on YouTube
but absolutely
Music Library.
crazy. Speaking of absolutely crazy, today is going to be kind of a sad
Oh,
kind of episode, only because we are going to pay tribute to Rob Reiner, who recently passed away. Unfortunately, was him and his wife were unalived in
mhm.
mid-December by their son Nick Reiner, who is supposedly, and I say supposedly because nothing official has come up yet, but they say that it's um, weeks prior to this incident that he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and that is a possibility leading up to him unaliving his parents.
Mhm.
So he took the life of his father, Rob Reiner, and his mother, Michelle Reiner. And it's been kind of really, really interesting kind of following this. So on the 18th, apparently he had a court appearance. I think that's really the last that we've heard on the updates.
Mhm.
But you're kind of caught up to date as to what has happened. But let's look at some of the more amazing things that Rob Reiner has done. If you're not too familiar with Rob Reiner, shame on you. Uh, because Rob Reiner is just a huge, how do I put this? Actor, director, writer. He did a lot in his career. And one of the things that has always impressed me, like I've only recently learned he had directed some incredible films that
Mhm.
I didn't know that he was part of. So I'm gonna save that for a little later, but I was mind blown when I was like, oh my God, he directed that? Like, you're kidding me. Had no idea because I grew up with Rob Reiner as Meathead. And for those of you who may not remember what Meathead is, Meathead is the character he played in All in the Family. Archie kept referring to him as Meathead. So because and the thing is what All in the Family was this great television series. Uh, and it's basically about Archie Bunker, who is a racist, but he doesn't know that he's a racist. He thinks that everything's fine and that everything he does is just gold and solid and that he does nothing wrong, but the stuff that he says is very racist, very antiquated, and it's something that nowadays you could not get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the stuff that Archie would say and the racial jokes that they would make, you could not do that nowadays. Like there's the famous episode that everyone loves to talk about is the one with Sammy Davis Jr. Are you familiar with this one, Roxy?
No.
Okay, so what it is Archie was on the subway and finds a briefcase, and he looks through it to figure out who it belongs to return it to him. Well, it belongs to the very famous singer Sammy Davis Jr. And so Sammy Davis is going to come by to pick up his briefcase from Archie. Well, uh, Sammy shows up. He's at the house, and of course, Archie's a bit of a racist, but he again doesn't think he's racist. So he's entertaining Sammy Davis Jr. And for those of you who have no idea who that man is, A, shame on you, and B, he is a really great black singer and black actor.
Mhm.
And what ends up happening is they go through all the usual racial kind of like things where Edith has ran out of beer to serve both of them. So there's this weird thing that happens where I think there's only one glass and they have to split the beer but he doesn't want to drink after Sammy has drunk from it because of that racial mentality, you know. And they even make the joke like, back in the day there was a very racist joke that was meant to prevent you from like being with a black person, and that was like if you kissed a black person, well, the black would rub off on you. And that was, and that's not a joke. That was a real thing back then. Parents would tell that to their kids back in the day.
Crazy.
It was a racist thing, but it was also a joke because we all know that that's not true. It's stupid. But back then they did have that mentality, and that really was a saying. So don't write Vada and be like, "Oh my God, you're such a racist." No,
Right.
that's actually American history right there, baby. So that and that episode dealt with that. And the funny thing is, like, so Sammy is going, to take a picture with Archie because, he's famous and Archie wants a picture and he's returned the briefcase. So they do a three count. It's one, two, three. And then Sammy leans in and kisses Archie. And you see Archie's face. It's like, it's just a great racial joke. But that's the thing. They were making fun of race relations at the time, and Rob Reiner was part of that. He was very cutting edge. He ends up becoming the producer for All in the Family, which was a really big deal because All in the Family, even though it's a story about a racist who doesn't know, it really was breaking down racial stereotypes, and it was dealing with a lot of stuff back then that was taboo, such as
Mhm.
women's rights, um, people who were dodging the Vietnam draft. It also dealt with, what we would call LGBT community rights nowadays. Back then, they just called it gay rights. That's just what it was back then.
Yeah.
So, it was cutting edge, and Rob Reiner was really a part of that. And then Rob Reiner goes on. He leaves On the Family. It ran for a good while. And this is a tribute to kind of what Rob Reiner did. All in the Family is a show that has the most spin-offs in TV history.
Oh
It
wow.
has the most spin-off. The great show The Jeffersons is a spin-off of All in the Family. And then the Jeffersons spins off Good Times. No, I'm lying. I'm lying. The Jeffersons is a spin-off. Maude is a spin-off of All in the Family. And then what ends up happening is Maude spins off Good Times. And then Bunker's Place, and then I think there was another one called 407 Hauser Street. But all those are spin-offs of All in the Family, and which Rob Reiner produced. Now, going forward, a little backup history here. I'm going to ask you this. Do you know who Carl Reiner is?
No.
Okay, Carl Reiner is Rob Reiner's father. But
Okay, I could
Carl
probably was
Reiner,
missing that.
right. But Carl Reiner is a very famous actor and comedian back in the day when TV and silver screen stuff were just kind of first starting out. Him and Mel Brooks did a lot of work together. So they were just famous for that. And so that is his dad. So he has a good comedic history. But let's jump into some of his filmography, which is just totally mind blowing. Roxy, are you ready for this?
Okay,
You be ready?
sure.
Okay. And as always, let me do what I do and share screen with you. Yay. So, can you see my screen, Roxy?
Hold on. Now I can.
Okay, here we go. So this is Carl Reiner, which is Rob Reiner's father. And so we're going to jump into Rob Reiner here in a second because I had it up, and of course it's missing. Why wouldn't it be? Did you go off screen, Roxy?
No, well, I don't know.
For some reason, I'm only seeing your name and not you.
Because
There
I
you
don't want to be
go.
seen.
That's the point of having a show if you're not. But anyway, this is Rob
Bet you
Reiner.
we weren't seen for a long time.
hmm So this is Rob Reiner. Grew up in the Bronx, died in Los Angeles, California. So some of his movies have been just utterly mind-blowing. And here are a few of them. First off, there's a lot here that I did not know that he had done, and it just kind of blows my mind. First off, did you know that he did the movie This Is Spinal Tap?
No.
Yep, here you go. He did. He also did Stand By Me, which I had no idea he was the director of Stand By Me.
Mm-mm.
A Few Good Men. This is mind blowing because these are very serious and dramatic movies. And the truth is, I grew up with him as a comic. So to know that he was doing these very dramatic movies is just boom, eye opening for me because it shows that he has this range that just I never thought of. So, A Few Good Men, Stand By Me. The one that totally shocked me and I still cannot get over, Misery. It's one of my favorites, and I had no idea that man directed Misery. He did such an incredible job. That whole, breaking your legs type of thing. Oh my God, that was just incredible. That was just an amazing scene. And I had no idea he was involved with that and just totally blew my mind. But that was an amazing thing. The Wolf of Wall Street was also his. So that was, I haven't seen that one. Have you seen that, Roxy?
Which no.
No, neither have I. So anyway. That was a thing as well. So, but he's the New Girl. I had no idea he was involved with New
I
Girl
didn't know that
either.
one either, and I love that show.
Yeah, see, I had no idea. Um, Bucket List, I can see that. I've never seen it, but I can see that. Sleepless in Seattle is considered one of the best romantic movies ever created. And he was the director for that. The First Wives Club, totally surprised about that too. There's a lot going on here that I had no idea, but First Wives Club is something that I would not have expected.
Yeah.
Um,
That's funny ass movie though.
Really, it is. And see, he's a great comedian. That's why I'm totally off when I see like these really serious movies like LBJ or, Misery or A Few Good Men. A lot of depth, a lot of range, a lot of amazing stuff like that. Um, Throw Mama from the Train, that I can totally see being a.
I don't think I've even heard of that.
um, so
I've
that
not
was
even
no,
heard of it.
Throw Mama from the Train was a
The
good
Giant,
comic.
I remember that movie.
I never saw The Giant.
Throw Mama from the Train. I've
Throw
never
Mama from the
even
Train
heard of
was
that
Danny
movie.
DeVito, Billy Crystal, and it was funny. It was funny. It was about this well, I won't get into it. It's kind of an older one, obviously, 1987. The Rockford Files. I'm shocked. He did the Rockford Files. James Gardner. Wow, I did not know that. Clint Eastwood, The Enforcer. Not familiar with it. Ed TV, I've heard
So,
of it, never saw it. That Girl, I wonder what he did with that. That one was he couldn't have directed. He would have been way too young for that. But he may have like done some like
maybe as
appearances
like a
here.
kid actor, he was,
Yeah, that
you
type of
know,
thing. Sandy Wexler, that was him. Okay. That's kind of interesting. Uh
30
so
Rock?
I'm sorry, where?
30 Rock?
Really? Is that on here? I don't
Yes,
see
right
it.
there next to Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, well, let's see what he did on 30 Rock. Because that's not something I am familiar with. I've never really watched 30 Rock. I know people lost their shit about it, but I
It was kind of
never
funny.
really, I never really,
I watched it a little.
I never really watched it, so let's see. All cast and crew. Where does Rob Reiner fall under this? Um, I'm not about to go through all that.
No, I'm not doing that.
So yeah, this is already beyond my ability to want to do any of this. So I'm not going to go through all that. But apparently he had some type of involvement with 30 Rock, um, which I wouldn't be surprised. He's a brilliant mind, and I would just say, I'm not shocked at all. Um, but again, Misery has to be one. The Princess Bride is a classic.
Hmm.
I mean, I dare you to not be able to quote one stupid quote from that movie. Roxy, Princess Bride, give me some line.
My name is Diego Montoya. You killed my
Yes,
father.
there you go. That one's
Take
famous.
mine.
The other famous one, As You Wish. Rodents of enormous size, that all that stuff. It was just really brilliant. And the truth is I've heard many people refer to Rob Reiner as more than just a director and an actor, but a really great storyteller. And
Hmm.
I have to admit that has to be absolutely true when you look at this, filmography. The American President was I remember that was kind of that was a good one. It was a love story, but First Wives Clubs, and So It Goes, Sleepless in Seattle, The Bucket List, Archie Bunker's Place. These were all just really great movies that this man was involved with that sadly I had no idea that he was involved with it. And I think it's very tragic, very sad that he passed the way that he did. My heart goes out to his family. One of his sons
A news reporter here, right?
was a news reporter. Yeah, he was a journalist here for I think Channel 2 for a good minute. I don't think he's still with Channel 2, but he was here for a good minute, and it's very sad that that even happened. So my heart goes out to the family, but you got to admit, the man was a brilliant storyteller. Told
Hmm.
a huge story that was a massive part of my life, especially with All in the Family. Like All in the Family, I have the entire DVD set of All in the Family. I liked it so much back in the day. And Roxy, had you ever seen Sleepless in Seattle?
Yes.
Yeah, that's been so long ago, but I think
Long
that's one of the
time.
Rob Reiner movies that we can all just say, hey, everyone knows it. You
Yeah.
know it, even if you've never seen it. You've heard of Sleepless in Seattle. Everyone has heard of Misery. Oh my God, that's and then A Few Good Men, again, totally mind-blowing, but brilliantly done. And these were stories and really great stories that would not have been possible without his unique vision. So you gotta say, Rob Reiner's stuff is just class act,
Yeah.
amazing, an incredible
Classics. A
storyteller.
lot of classics.
Yeah, I mean, just movies that, like I said, totally mind blowing, totally mind blowing. So, it's tragic what's happened, but it also is a constant reminder of mental health issues.
Hmm.
And if you know someone who is having a mental health issue, doing your best to try to get them help without putting yourself in danger. But definitely, calling and trying to get someone that help that they need, because you don't want tragedies like this to affect you. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end it on that note. Roxy, is there a particular Rob Reiner film that is your favorite before we go out?
I did notice a movie. It was a cartoon, actually. I think it was Everyone's Hero. That's a
Oh,
cute
okay.
movie.
Okay.
It's a
So
cute.
my favorite out of looking at his filmography is going to have to be Misery because I just love the movie Misery. It was so
Hmm.
good. So that is my favorite. And then, of course, I will always remember him as Meathead and All in the Family. Absolutely loved it. That was my first, exposure to Rob Reiner. Absolutely brilliant. So he will be missed. But let's say you have a Rob Reiner movie or TV show that you want to share, or maybe some hidden gem by Rob Reiner that you'd like to share. You can do that to the VCR show at the VCR show at gmail.com. You can also hit us up on our social medias, which is the VCR show, and our website, thevcrshow.com. And if you want to discuss Sleepless in Seattle or any other romantic rom-com with Roxy, you can at her social medias, which are
On Facebook at Roxy Perez Curvy Model, on Instagram at Roxy Perez 428, and on TikTok at the Pop Rocks. And Pop Rocks is spelled POPROXX.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
as
no.
always, as always, I'm Vara,
And I'm Roxy.
and you've been listening to VCR.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to VCR, creative content by Richard Christopher Vara and Roxy Perez. Logo by Richard Christopher Vara with assistance from Annie Ramirez. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us at thevcrshow@gmail.com or our social medias at Instagram and Twitter at the VCR Show. And you can also check out our content at thevcrshow.com. The show song is Addict by Nefex, instrumental, and you can find them on YouTube Music Library.